Craig, did you see Liverpool are supporting VAR? I did, Trevor. And you know what, mate? I'm genuinely shocked. I'm going to read you out something now that was a survey. So let me read this out to you and then see what you think. So, the Football Supporters Association recently released details of its summer 2023 survey on Thursday morning, which included questions about attitudes towards VAR. So remember, this is the Football Supporters Association. So for those people who are inside the grounds, they were surveyed on VAR, and these are some of the results. It revealed that only 1 in 20, so just 5.5% of fans who had experienced VAR in stadiums rated their experience as good or very good. Almost 2/3 of fans, 63.3%, were against its continued use, with an outstanding 91.9%, so almost 92%, criticising the length of time it takes to make decisions, and 95% saying that the removal of spontaneity from goal celebrations is a major concern. So the reason I brought that up, just as you asked me about Liverpool backing VAR, is it feels like they just never listen. It feels like those in power at anywhere in football don't listen to the fans. The fans in every poll and survey that I've seen, and I'm not saying there isn't ones that say otherwise, but genuinely in every one that I've seen, whether it be on Sky, whether we held it ourselves here, whether it be on other platforms, everybody's sick of it. Everybody's sick of it. So I'm just astounded that they won't listen. That clubs in general won't listen. I know they've invested a lot of money in it. I know there are arguments that it would be going backwards. But you know what I don't believe? That they're going to get better. I don't believe that the PGMOL's officials are going to get any better. Because we've had it 5 years now. That 5 years has flown by. And I don't believe their stat about 82% or 84% of correct decisions rising up to 96%. I don't believe any of it, and football fans seem to be sick of it, but it doesn't look like we matter anymore, so it looks like they're going to press ahead. We should get that banter technology out of the Prem. Too many mistakes with too many cameras and technology. It's shocking. It's not the VAR that's the problem, it's the people who run it. VAR is great if used right. Yeah, but that argument doesn't make any difference, mate, because we're not going to get better people involved. So if we keep giving the PGMOL and the officials the benefit of the doubt, how has that worked out? In theory, I get what you're saying, but the system is also imperfect because fans inside the stadium aren't kept up to date, and IFAB, the football lawmakers, seem to be fighting the PGMOL, who want the referees to have the ability to be able to interact and explain what is happening to the fans inside the stadium. So I don't think it is solely down to those using the technology. I think there are genuine problems with the technology as well. Keep it for offside. I'd rather a mistake from the naked eye from the referee. I think the automated offside technology, or the semi-automated offside technology, should hopefully give us a much better, clearer picture in that regard. So there are some bits of technology I quite like. Like, I love goal line technology. I think it's brilliant. I think it certainly enhanced the game. And it's one of the few things that you don't see people arguing with referees about. If the referee gets the buzz on his watch and blows the whistle, everyone accepts it that the ball went over the line. So there are some parts of technology that have been great. And yes, I actually agree that the semi-automated offside technology, when used properly, is a good system. I do agree with that. But there are loads of other things that still involve too many human errors for me, like what hasn't been addressed. And no matter what channel I've watched, and I've watched Sky Sports, I've watched other fan channels, I've watched and listened to bits of content, do you know what's never spoken about lately? The clear and obvious stuff. Because I don't know about you guys, but one of my biggest gripes with VAR is this get out of jail free card that the officials have. It didn't meet the threshold of clear and obvious when they don't want to admit they got something wrong, or when they don't want to admit that their mate didn't want to go to the monitor. That's the part of all of this that if I could just have one change in VAR, it would be the removal of that nonsense, and that if the VAR official in any way deems that the referee needs to go to the monitor, then the ref goes to the monitor, because it's sticking in my throat that Martin Odegaard handball wasn't even looked at by the referee on a monitor, or the Doku challenge wasn't looked at, and they're just decisions for Liverpool. So for me, we need more communication around the clear and obvious stuff, because it isn't measurable. It's just a phrase. It isn't quantifiable. And the Luis Diaz one as well. Yeah, but the Luis Diaz one, at least they admitted a human error. So I'm okay with somebody making a mistake. You know, mistakes happen. The other ones, I'll never accept that they shouldn't have at least been looked at by the referee at the monitor. I'll never accept that. Wolves have warned the Premier League could be irrevocably damaged if clubs do not ditch VAR, urging rivals to listen to their fans. I would also urge rivals to listen to Wolves fans and the Wolves Supporters Association, because I'm actually somewhat shocked that Liverpool are reported to be behind keeping VAR on. You know, because we've been shafted at times this season. So I do feel like there needs to be a bigger conversation around this. We read the poll out earlier on, and if you weren't with us, let me just read it out for you again, because it really is important. If you want to know how the fans are feeling, then you go and survey them. And that's exactly what the Football Supporters Association did. They released details of its summer 2023 survey today. It had questions basically about VAR, and it revealed that only 5.5% of fans who've experienced VAR in stadiums rated their experience as good or very good. So 94.5% of fans didn't agree with the statement that it was good or very good. Almost 2/3 of fans, 63.3%, were against its continued use. So 63% of Football Supporters Association fans who were surveyed don't want VAR. With 91.9%, so 92%, criticising the length of time taken to make decisions, and 95% saying the removal of spontaneity from goal celebrations was a major concern. Now, we had our own one here, and of course, much smaller sample size. I think it was about 72% wanted rid of VAR. The one I seen on Sky Sports yesterday, at the time I voted, and then when Connor voted on it, was 73%. So why aren't people listening? Why aren't football clubs really getting into dialogue with the people who are suffering? And this is one of those occasions where I genuinely do believe the match-going fan has been shafted. Because, you know, we get to see and hear some stuff from broadcasters, whatever, at home. But inside the stadium, like, what was our goal the other day? Cody Gakpo's one. 3.5 minutes? Something like that. Now imagine you're sitting inside Villa Park there just kind of waiting. Players' legs are getting cold. It's just madness. And they don't seem to want to listen. It baffles me. Genuinely baffles me. I get the argument that it's those who operate the technology, but I'm also of the belief that I don't think we're just going to bat an eyelid and all those officials are going to change and all of a sudden new people are going to be there. We get the promises every summer. We get the promise last year of improvements. We got the promise before about improvements, and this year, for me anyway, this feels like the worst year of all for VAR. It feels like it's become farcical at times, and why don't they listen to fans? Like, it's a fan-led sport. I don't get it. VAR needs to be revamped. Right, so here's a question. What would you do to improve VAR if you were in charge of it right now? What were some implementations that you would like to see IFAB or the PGMOL introduce to improve the process of VAR? And removing Paul Tierney isn't allowed. Ryan O'Connell said I would bring in semi-automated technology. I think that, yeah, and that's going to happen. And I like it as well. I like that semi-automated technology. Make it quicker, said Oliver Hunt. Yeah, I think most people would agree with you on that one, mate. To have audio, yeah, again, I think you're preaching to the choir. I think most people would agree with you that certainly those inside the stadium should have the opportunity to listen. And I think it could be a little money earner here as well, by the way. Imagine do you ever go to the snooker and you see the little earpieces, or other sports, you see them have little earpieces where they can hear commentary and stuff. Imagine you could have that in your ear as well for these type of things. You could sell them for a few quid a pop and increase your revenue inside the stadiums. You're welcome. Do you agree with me? I think it's a waste of time sending the ref to the screen when they're going to overturn the decision anyway. They should just go with the VAR official and save time. No, I don't. I do like the idea of the referee having the final say. But I also don't think that there's been instances that the ref has gone, like, for instance, two I can think of for us that the ref should have definitely been sent to the monitor and wasn't. I'd rather this clear and obvious threshold nonsense be cleared up. I am a believer in the ref having the final decision. I get where you're coming from, and it would certainly speed up the process, but then you get into the argument of VAR re-refereeing games. So that's my take on that part, but I do appreciate and understand where you're coming from.